to several things, I do say yes.
What happened to the non-context caller? That person used to call all the time and just randomly, many calls with no context whatsoever. But I don't know.
Don't
know. Hey, your Cleveland Guardians are playing tonight. They had last night off. They got swept by the Tigers a couple of days ago. But they're in Kansas City. They're going to start up 1st at 3 tonight against the Royals. 8:10 is the start. 7:40. Around there is going to be your pregame coverage, starting up with Hammy and Rosie and the Ihop gang. So that's tonight on MMS and on the iHeartRadio app. About 8 minutes from now, I'll have your next chance to go fuel yourself and get $1,000. So be listening for that keyword, because it'll be your second to last chance to win this week some of that money.
Hey, what's up, Alan? Y'all talking about mascots. Whatever happened to the San Diego Chicken? I think that was. When I was a kid, I used to love that mascot. Is he still around? Anybody know? Later.
San Diego Chicken is still around, I think.
Yeah.
The San Diego Chicken was so famous that the guy who played him became famous.
That's pretty
San
famous.
Diego Chicken was... It started...
Also devastating if you think it's a real chicken.
Wait, what? It bums you out if you think it's a real chicken?
Yeah, if you're like a little kid and you're like, the San Diego Chicken, this is amazing. And then this guy's like, hey, I'm the guy that's inside the costume. You're like, costume? I thought it was just a big chicken.
Right. But I'm curious how it got to be such a pop culture icon. Like the San Diego Chicken would come out like when candidates were running for president, they would have the San Diego Chicken come out. He'd get his picture taken with Reagan at the White House. Because the dude was just a college kid in the costume. And he ended up being, I think he has since retired, but the guy that played the San Diego Chicken did it for 42 years. It started as there's a radio station in San Diego called KGB. This is a radio station that wanted to hire me a couple of years back. And they had a series of animated commercials. Radio station's been on forever. And they had this chicken. And then it became a thing. And this kid in high school or college or something started wearing the suit. There was a guy named, God, what was that guy's name? Ted Janulis. Ted Janulis is the guy that would play the San Diego Chicken. And he played it for 42 years. And I'm curious how that got to be such a big deal. Like they fired this guy and he sued them. It became a whole thing back in the day. He had to pay the guy that played the San Diego Chicken. I don't think the Padres paid. The guy that played had to pay $300,000 because he injured a Chicago Bulls cheerleader. We have the Lova Bulls are our cheerleaders in Chicago. And the San Diego Chicken tackled one of the Lova Bulls at a Bulls game.
We don't even
I
have
don't know if he was there drunk or I don't know what, but this guy was out there doing all kinds of wild stuff as the San Diego Chicken. But like the guy would go do appearances. Hey, here's Ted. He's the San Diego Chicken. So in or out of the costume, he would do appearances. That's wild.
That's every mascot's dream.
Yeah. That when I take the head off, people will still know and care who I am. That's right.
They're very careful about that now, though. The mascots that like ketchup and mustard and onion and
do we know who's in those, or is it a rotating cast of kids?
I think I know one of them.
Oh, really?
I think I do, but I can't say anything because you're not supposed to know. They're like really.
But everybody knew
that.
Ted Janulis, and that was in the 70s. Why would that change?
Because of all the things that they went through. So they go, oh, you're not the mascot. You're the person playing the mascot.
Oh.
So you don't get to claim to be in the suit. Because then, yeah, there's like a... Someone's got to say it since Poundcake's out. NDAs.
Never thought it would come up without him here.
Has Tiny Poundcake showed up on screen yet? Have people seen Tiny Poundcake?
When you introduced him at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
But there he is again.
Yeah, there's Tiny Poundcake.
we had not a mascot. I guess they were kind of like mascots. They weren't like they were called the Blue Crew at Toledo, and they all wore masks, and they wore like
BLEW.
BLUE.
I was gonna say, like,
They all had like the same.
that's a good way to get people to go to Toledo.
Like well, wait for this.
There's got to be one.
They all had the same like Dickies jumpers that they were just blue, and then they'd paint like their name and their number on the back. But they were like crazy serious about it. I knew a couple people in it, and they were like, if anyone found out their identity and they leaked it, they would get thrown out of the Blue Crew. And they were like, it was intense. All the rules they had to follow.
So you had to be cool with remaining anonymous.
You have to remain anonymous, and when you're in costume or uniform, whatever they called it, there were certain things you couldn't do, certain ways you couldn't act because you had to like uphold.
Oh yeah,
what
when
the
you're
Blue
in the
Crew-
costume,
yeah.
sure. But if you're anonymous, you can go.
Yeah,
bananas.
you can go out and drink and do whatever you want. But I think that's another reason why people want to stay anonymous.
Bill, does the person you know who's one of the pierogies, does it bother them that they have to remain anonymous, or do they prefer
What?
that? What?
Pierogies.
I thought you said you knew one of the. What are they?
Hot dogs.
Hot
Sorry,
dogs?
hot dogs. I thought. Are they bummed that they have to remain anonymous, or
I don't even know if they're actually that for sure. Like, I just have my hunch that this person.
you suspect
I
that that's their secret
suspect
identity.
That's their secret identity, but I don't know for sure. Based on certain mannerisms they both have.
Mannerisms. Wow. This past weekend. Was it this past weekend? Yeah, holiday weekend, this past weekend. Took my daughter to see that Minions movie. Right?
Oh, yeah. How was that?
Massive movie. Very entertaining. I know there's people who hate those Minions. I think, is Mary one of them?
No, I don't
Somebody I
care.
talked to said
Minions are
they
cute.
hate those friggin' Minions.
My niece saw it, and I was asking her about it, and I was like, so does Gru die? And she's like, no, Gru doesn't die.
He's a
with
kid.
you.
I'm like, but do any of the minions
It's
die?
Rise of Gru.
Rise and fall of Gru,
That's why
unfortunately.
she was so
He dies.
shocked. She's like, why would anyone die in a Minions movie? I'm like, wasn't Gru a bad guy? Doesn't he hurt people? She's like, no, he's like a good bad guy. Like, and
He's a bad guy with a conscience.
I like a 6-year-old explaining.
Yeah.
You can root
things.
for him.
Yeah, it's cute.
No, those are very entertaining. Second billing behind Steve Carell is this French actor, because I think that one guy does the Minions voice, and I think it's a mix of Spanish and French, and they pitch it up.
Yeah.
So it sounds like babble, but I don't think that it is, and I think that's part of what makes it so entertaining. But what they're having, and this is a massive movie, like it's $1 billion movie, right? But it is one area where the movie studio let the memes go crazy, because they're getting, and again, I don't ever believe that these things are ever organic. I think it's always inside marketing. I think it's Universal Studios having their team put something on TikTok, pretending, or paying an influencer, and then pretending that this just happened. Kids showing up in suits at screenings of the Minions. And they're called gentle minions, like gentlemen's. Mm-hmm. And they're like, started on TikTok, and all these people start showing up. I don't ever buy these kinds of things. I think they're all created. But there have been theaters that have been banning these kids coming to this movie, because they're not 6 and 7. They're like 17, 18 years old, teenagers, who were looking to just be dicks.
Yeah, of course.
And this
There's
is
always something that's going to ruin the fun.
yeah, it's primarily in England that this has been happening. But if you're doing a showing of Minions and you got a bunch of teenagers walking in wearing suits, first of all, they're in formal attire. Right? Let's class the joint up a little bit. Staff said that they've been coming in and clapping and cheering and whooping and rising to their feet, like overplaying the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But these are movies with primarily kids in the audience, so you don't want to freak the kids out. No, it's an entertaining movie. I mean, these Minions movies are fun.
Kids' movies are fun.
But you have, not all of them, but you have some of these cinemas that are like, if you're wearing a suit, where else are you going to get rejected wearing a suit, right? Maybe Brett Kavanaugh at a steakhouse. But if you're at a movie theater, where else are you going to get kicked out for wearing a suit? And that's what's happening. I don't know if it happens much over here. I know there was a kid in Maryland who was like, hey, we just walked in and want to see the movie. We got kicked out.
Oh, yeah, Minions has already made $250 million.
Yeah, they're massive movies.
For all of them, it's over $4 billion. Mm-hmm. Huge franchise.
Now, there was some bad press, too, because Ihop apparently did a tie-in with Minion meals. They had a Minion menu. If you've been to an IHOP recently, you might have seen this. But then a bunch of people on TikTok went and said that it made them sick. So that's not so good. They had the Baba banana pudding because the Minions are supposed to love bananas. Cinnaminion donut holes, Gru's evil steak burger, and the Gru iced coffee. There got to be some people on TikTok who were like, hey, I was up all night after eating this. And then other people piled on and said, hey, yeah, me too.
Yeah, but that's IHOP.
Yeah, that's got nothing to do with the
food,
Minions.
yeah.
Really? I've never had a problem with IHOP.
I don't eat a lot of IHOP.
I go like twice a year if I want a pancake or something. It is the international house.
I'm a
Is
Bob
this not
Evans
the
gal.
International House of Poundcake? Poundcake.
The International House of Poundcake.
I guess.
I had the Minions meal cold brew and I grewed my pants, said one person.
Oh.
I think people are doing it for the jokes,
I
too.
had diarrhea for 4 days, someone else said. Well, anyway.
I don't...
That's your own diet.
Yeah, that's
The IHOP closest to me closed down. I don't know if it's a COVID casualty or what, but it's not even open anymore. I'm like, how the hell do you not keep an IHOP open?
The only time I ever go to IHOP is if I'm on the road and it's late. Like,
Because it's 24 hours, right?
Yeah, when I was in Fort Wayne, there weren't many late night options for food, and so we ended up at IHOP every night because it was like that place was a absolute
Zoo.
train wreck
Yeah.
of an establishment, dude. It was like
Oh, you got to go like between breakfast and dinner. If
Well-
you go in the wee hours, it's a nut house.
Well, yeah, because the shows would get done. We had, our late show started at 10:30, so we weren't done with merch and everything till midnight. By the
Yep.
time we'd get there for food, it's 1:00 in the morning, and there was like 2 people working, and they're screaming at each other. And like the one night we went back the next night because we knew it was open, and it had flooded. There was just one guy with a mop who definitely was not a front of house employee because he had zero
Gross.
people skills.
Yeah.
But he's just telling everybody like they'll be back, just wait. And he's like mopping around your feet, and we're like, what
Oh,
is
no.
happening?
Hey, can I get some service over here when you're done mopping?
People sleeping in booths. The food took like 45 minutes. It was an absolute disaster.
Fort Wayne, Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Have I ever told you about the
Foxtrot Museum.
the Fox Island Nature Preserve, Mary?
Yes.
They had groundhogs that were eating toilet seats there for a while. Hey, let me give you some money. It's $1,000. It's your second to last chance to win today and this week. So listen closely. Go fuel yourself right now. Good luck.
The Buzzard wants you to go fuel yourself and score $1,000. Enter the nationwide keyword GREEN at WMMS.com. That's green. Enter it now at WMMS.com. And good luck from Buzzard Radio.
I was reading about the bidding war that is taking place over the Amber Heard tell-all book. $16 million is on the table for her.
Tell.
Well, that's what some people are saying. Like, she's talked about a lot of stuff during a televised trial, but she's only going to write one, and she's got to make some money. Johnny Depp's got a new film he's doing. Amber Heard, possibly not so much. Although I think his lawyers have said publicly that they really don't have any interest in taking her money. He just wanted the verdict. But she's shopping a book around. And these are so easy. Because you just dictate it to somebody. You get a ghostwriter. You don't sit down there in front of your laptop
No, and you
hammering
tell
out
them
pages.
everything,
Yeah,
right.
whatever. And then they turn it
that'd be
into
fun.
an allegedly compelling read.
I want to do that.
Well, you can write.
Wait, you want to write? You want to be a ghostwriter for someone, or you want to?
I just want to tell someone. Yeah, I just want to say, take this down.
Oh, you don't want to write your
no.
book. Oh, I thought you meant you wanted to write your book.
I just want to tell stories.
He wants
What do
a
you think of that?
compelling story. You have a compelling story. Why don't you get someone to write your Mormon story for you?
Why not write it yourself? That's what I'm saying. I'd want to write my book myself.
I just like the idea of telling someone what to write.
Hey, take this down. You want someone to dictate
Yes.
to.
And then when they go, that sounds made up. And I go, you're not writing the book, are you, Kevin? My name's Clark. I'm don't
Clark
care.
the Cub.
I'm the one that got the advance, not you.
You will address me as Shahet Lagooch.
That's not. You shouldn't talk to your employees that way, Bill. You're hiring someone to do a service for you. You shouldn't be rude to them. Just saying.
Well, he's not a paperwork guy, and writing a book requires a lot of literal paperwork.
Well, don't treat Chet or Kevin or Clark, whoever
Shahet Lagooch?
Shahet LeClark that you hire. Don't be mean to him. Because then what happens when he puts together the rough draft sends it out, and
That's gonna be
you're
a rough
you're a
draft.
bad person in it.
No, because what
He would
gets
have to
do-
sign off on the
He's
rough
not gonna
draft.
read it. He's not gonna read it.
Then he gets to do. I'll read books or listen. I'll do the.
You'll listen to it.
I'll listen to it.
You
I'll
can't listen to a
my-
rough draft.
I'll listen to my book on tape that I had to read.
Are you going to make Chihet Leclerc do an audio rough draft?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bill's gonna. Here's how it works. This
part of it.
is the process. Bill dictates it to Chihet Legooch, and then he types it up. Then reads what he typed up back to Bill on like MP3 or something, and then Bill listens to.
And edits, he does an auditory editing program.
Yeah. And
That's how much he hates paper.
But here's the thing: when Chet's reading it back to me, now he gets to yell at me, and that's the back
So
and
it's
forth
fair.
that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as it's fair.
Bill doesn't even want his book printed. He wants it to be Kindle available only.
Not
Self-published. There's no paperwork involved in
No,
that.
I want it to be cut up into pieces
Post-it
and
notes.
put in a bunch of fortune cookies. So you have to get all the fortune cookies in the right order to know what's going on in my book.
Fart your farts. That is the worst fortune I've ever gotten. That's not
the
any
best
kind of
fortune you've ever gotten.
That's not any kind of prediction. Of course I'm going to fart at some point.
Don't hold them in.
Alan Cox Show
That's
after
drugs.
hours line. Anytime you want to leave a voicemail there, you can do it. 216-986-8903.
Hey, Alan. Hate the show. I wanted to call in. I think I can help Mary with her food battles with her boyfriend. She mentions how he wants her to be a vegetarian so that she's more sustainable and can help the environment and the earth. But he also doesn't eat leftovers and is quick to throw away food. So I'm just wondering how he reconciles those two practices. I thought that might help her out a little bit. Hate the show. Bye.
How would that help you? He's
don't know.
asking a question.
I think he's helping me to start a fight. I think that's what he's.
Oh, she needs no help in that regard.
I
She
think
can
that's
start
what
him just fine, all right? She just shoots
So
him a
good at
weird
fighting.
look.
I'm not that good at fighting. I don't start fights. Did we have a disagreement yesterday? Yes.
You don't think you start fights.
What was it
You might
about?
not mean to start fights.
No, I'm not going to put it out there. It was personal yesterday.
Okay.
But no, I don't start fights.
It was
I
about the
speak
vabbing,
my
wasn't
mind.
it? He didn't want you vabbing anymore.
You've been on the show saying like, or maybe it hasn't been on the show, but you've been like, I think I'm going to start a fight today. Like you
I've
said
had
that.
moods like that,
Yeah.
where I wanna
I'm
pick a
ready.
fight.
Where
Why-
You want
why
to
is
pick
that?
a fight.
Because I get
What's the impetus for that?
annoyed and aggravated, and everything people do bothers me.
But why
so
not
then I
have a
wanna pick
conversation rather than pick a fight?
Because I'm agitated, so I'm not in the mood. You've never been in the mood to pick a fight where I'm
No.
like, I don't feel like having a conversation. I want to
Nope.
kind of yell about this a little bit. Not even yell. I want to argue.
Well, okay, venting is different than picking a fight. If you're with a significant other, you should be able to vent to them. I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd be happy to hear it.
that's not what I mean. And
I know it's not.
usually with him.
That's why I'm curious about what's the impetus for picking a fight.
Well, and this isn't specific to a relationship. This
This is just
in general.
Mary is.
There are some days I can't be alone in this. There's some days where I wake up in a mood where I'm agitated and everything aggravates me, and I'm like, I'm probably going to pick a fight today.
We've
I'm
all
gonna
woken
look for something.
We've
to
all
argue
woken up
about.
like that, but like I wouldn't go. I'm going to pick a fight today.
Well, I know me, and I know it's going to happen.
Right.
It's unavoidable.
I'm just curious where that comes from. And so,
I think my girlfriend's got some of that too. And
if at the end of the day you haven't picked a fight,
That's a win. That's still a
Oh,
win.
that is, okay.
I don't necessarily want to pick a fight. I know that I'm going to pick
you just
a
know
fight.
you're prickly that day.
I'm prickly, and
Yeah.
if someone says something to me, I'm going to come back at you. I'm not going to let things go today.
but you can control that. So you do
No,
want
that
to
I
pick a
can't
fight.
control.
Of course you can.
I can't control that.
You
So
can
if I make it
control
to
your
the end
own
of the day
emotions. Of
and
course
we
you
don't,
can.
And we
We've
don't
been
fight,
over this.
You're a
it's
grown
day.
woman. Of course you can.
Listen, I understand.
You're not a child.
This last 3-4 minutes of the show have been so clear and concise. I don't know why you're confused.
So clear and concise. Yeah, okay.
No, sometimes you just feel like I'm probably going to do that today. If it doesn't happen, great. If it does,
Mary, why you bugging?
My girlfriend had a bad day at work yesterday, and she was venting after work, and I was like, and then she's like, do you ever have days like that where you just, like, your job sucks so bad that you just, like, go into a closet and scream? I'm like, no.
He goes, yeah, I work with Alan.
No, but I don't. But, like, I've
Would
never...
you like to sniff my testicles?
I've never been that frustrated by work.
well, you've never had a job that you didn't really like.
We've all had jobs we didn't
I
like.
definitely had
Okay,
jobs
but
I didn't like.
not for how long though? How long have you been in a position
None of that
without
matters.
quitting? It does matter.
No, you're either that kind of person or you're not.
I don't agree because
But that's what it is.
Because there are certain
I've had
jobs.
awful jobs. I'm going to pick a fight today because I'm frustrated.
Well, she's not saying pick a fight. She said go scream in the closet. I've screamed in so many walk-in coolers because I've just been so aggravated dealing with people.
Okay, yeah, I'm still on pick a fight, but yeah, okay.
No,
Yeah.
he's talking about his girlfriend
Screaming
just
into
having
the
a
void.
bad
Yeah,
day
yeah.
at work.
I understand.
And I'm not screaming to the void because that doesn't seem like any sort of solution or release
It's
to me.
just it's just a release. It's
right,
just
but I'm
getting
saying
that
that's not how I
frustration out.
get that frustration out, and that's what I was trying to explain to her last night. And she's like, it didn't click with her. I was just like, that's just not who I am.
No, because
Like,
you and I have the void within us.
exactly. We scream into ourselves.
You bury
right.
things deep, deep, deep down.
That's right, and they'll never surface, Mary. Never, ever, ever surface. All right. I've got to take a break. Hey, you want to go see Warrant? You know, we do a thing here. Stansbury on his show does Big Hair Wednesdays, as the name implies. It happens midweek, noon to 1. All that kind of glam rock from the 80s and all that. Big Hair Wednesday on The Buzzard presents Warrant with Winger and Firehouse.